video games are not made better by people just being toxic piles of crap. Like, I don't want to play an ocean of I don't want to play an ocean of DSPs when I hop on to play video games. I just don't. Like, I'll have more fun if I do anything else. Okay? I don't want to play more DSPs. I want less. So, like, to have in your terms of service that people can be like banned for being toxic piles of garbage, I think that that's honestly a good thing, and I would prefer that. Like, I would frankly prefer it. Yeah, man, and there's so many examples. Like, do you want to keep playing a game if you come across this?
All right, guys, so that is it for Halo. Thanks to those who chilled. And until next time, which will be Black Friday, when hopefully things go a little better. All right? Cool. Thank you. All right, guys. All right, so I'm going to say this right now. I don't know what the fuck you guys were thinking tonight with this derailment of the chat. I was trying to be nice because there's no moderator, so I'm trying to be nice and not fucking moderate. But you guys just take it to the extreme. Like, okay. So earlier tonight, supposedly Only Iced Coffee came in here and said a few things about Kevin that could be disturbing because it sounds like he's...
Like, just start lecturing your chat. It's like, hey guys, you're talking about other stuff other than me, and I'm gonna ban you guys for doing that. Like, what? Oh, Damien, thank you also for the 20. Appreciate you. Thanks so much for your work, Luke. Wishing wonderful things for you and your family in the coming year. Thank you, my friend. I will say this year has been crazy. This year has been absolutely crazy. In a very, very good way. I mean, it's been a crazy, crazy year of growth, and I'm very, very, very thankful to be here. So thank you all. It's been wonderful. Oh, wow, the camera's on. The camera's on the whole time. Yeah, exactly.
Damien Balde donated $19.99
Camera's on the whole
through
time.
Super Chat. Thanks so much for your work, Luke. Wishing wonderful things for you and your family in the coming year.
Dab, dab. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers to that. You should do a DSP stream one day. I don't know if I have the patience. I don't know. The one thing was, let's see, side scrollers. Like the side scrollers interview was just madness. It was just madness.
Let's go into WWE channel.
Like, he comes in and sits on this interview for like 5 hours. It was like a 5-hour stream. And they just like tear into him the whole time. And the whole time he's like, yeah, no, I agree. This doesn't make any sense at all. And if I were you, I would not believe me. And they're like, yeah, because what you're saying makes no sense. Like, DSP literally believes. So quick crash course. DSP has been accused of a handful of things. Number one is that he's just really toxic, which is obviously true, but that's not necessarily a crime. But the bigger problem is that he's like a straight up scammer. So he'll tell people that like he has taxes due, he needs to pay his mortgage, he has all these bills due, blah, blah, blah. Turns out he makes well over $100,000 a year because the trolls, the detractors, track it all in spreadsheets. The super chats that come in, the memberships, all of that, they track all of it. He makes over 100K a year, and he spends it on whatever he wants, like door dashing 2-3 times a week. But then also, he is addicted to a mobile game called WWE Champions, and they've tracked his account. It's tied to his personal cell phone number. So it has to be his, because two-factor authentication, nobody else can use your cell phone unless they have access to the verification codes that come through. It's tied to his phone number that he uses today. People can still call it because it leaked, and it goes to him. So it is his account. And he spent over $100,000 in this mobile game. In a mobile game. A mobile game. He spent over $100,000 in a mobile game. It's crazy. He will wake up throughout the night. People have tracked him playing it at like 2 a.m. Then he goes to sleep. And he wakes up at 4 a.m. and plays more. Then he goes to sleep. Wakes up at 6 a.m, plays more. Goes to bed. Like, he does it. He's like a straight up addict. Okay? He's a straight up addict. And All the while, he'll tell his audience that they need to give him money, that he really needs this money. I really, really do. I need this money. And it's all just a lie because he's spending the money on a mobile game. And part of the drama with all this is that he declared bankruptcy a few years ago during COVID. And during that bankruptcy, he had $5,000 a month expenses listed for business expenses. Now, I have actually more at this point. I have more than 5,000. I probably have like $6,000, $7,000 in business expenses every month. Because of how we structure things, I have two full-time employees. So their salaries are business expenses. Like they count as a business expenses. He doesn't have business expenses because he doesn't have employees. I also pay myself through a salary because like then my taxes are automatically paid out through the business and stuff. So that's a benefit of structuring it as an S Corp versus just a standard LLC. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. But like I have all of this stuff structured with multiple employees, with paying myself a salary for tax purposes, and all of this that give me business expenses that are higher. He doesn't have any of this. He doesn't have any of that because it's just him. What everybody is pretty confident happened is that he was writing off microtransactions in WWE Champions as business expenses to lower his tax bill, which is tax fraud. That's a big problem. And that's why he can't admit that he is playing this mobile game and has spent so much money on it because it's tax fraud. So he can't admit it. And so he went on this podcast and they just like call him out and they're like, so all this is going on. There's all this evidence that it's your account. Furthermore, somebody somehow got bank leaks of his actual bank statements and found that not only did this bank account that was listed have tons of Apple iTunes or Apple App Store charges for WWE Champions on it, but they tied to dates in the game where there were events going on when he was buying stuff, this account was buying stuff. And then also there are charges for things that DSP himself has admitted to doing. So like he would come on stream and say, yeah, I went last night to a really delicious Indian restaurant with my wife and it was great. He'd say something like that, or we ordered out from it. And then they check, and on the bank statements on that date is a charge to an Indian restaurant for that amount that you would expect for about 2 people to eat. So all of these things tie perfectly into it, being his bank account and also spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on this mobile game at the same time. His stance, though, is that the account is not his. Somehow they've hacked his phone to be able to tie his phone number to a Line app, which is then tied to this mobile game. So that's been, a grand scheme fake. And then it's a detractor troll that has spent over $100,000 of their own money and is playing this mobile game constantly, day in, day out, in order to troll him and make him look bad. And that the bank statements were also faked, though previously he said that they were real, and then he walked that back and changed his story. So it's really unclear what his official stance is on that now, because it's probably his accounts. So either he's the world's most unlucky guy who has trolls willing to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, or at the very least tens of thousands of dollars on mobile games to make him look bad, or it's his account. And I would guess it's his account. I think that's what it is. And this Side Scrollers podcast, again, it's like a 5-hour show. My understanding is the Side Scrollers, this gentleman right here, he, I believe he goes by Stuttering Craig. He is like an old school YouTuber. He ran the site years ago, back in like the mid 2000s, and then it kind of died out or went away or something. And this used to be a podcast that Phil watched back in like 2008, 2009. So Phil comes on the show because he's kind of a fan of this guy from way back in the day. It's kind of like meeting your idol. And then the whole show is just Phil getting railroaded by these two, asking him questions that he can't answer because he's just lying through his teeth the whole time. And it is freaking hilarious.
Yes.
Sure.
Let's talk about this, because this has been a consistent theme with all the detractors. They want to know about your experience with this game.
Yeah, the other thing is Phil has admitted to playing this game, to actively playing it today, to playing the previous game, and he says the previous WWE Immortals game he was addicted to and spent tons of money. And he's admitted to spending money in WWE Champions, and when asked how much, he's like, oh, well, less than 1,000. if I ask any of you guys, how much money do you spend on mobile games? If you say, well, I don't know, it's less than 1,000. What? Like, that's crazy. I've never spent, like, yeah, I would hope you'd say, oh, less than $5. I don't know. I think I bought a skin once. Like that. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. But for you to go and be like, okay, rounding up, the closest number is probably 1,000, but I haven't gone over 1,000. So like, he's already admitted to having very questionable judgment buying mobile game stuff.
Just a real simple yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Do you currently still play WWE Champions?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you so why are you so hesitant to talk about that, or to talk about WWE Champions? And we'll start there.
Oh, why am I hesitant to talk about WWE Champions? Well, the thing is, I wasn't at first. I did talk about it publicly years ago when the game first came out, very innocently. Talked about playing it casually.
So he goes through all of this stuff. He describes how he plays it, how he's actively played it. And then eventually Stuttering Craig gives him the option. He says, okay, right now, you say you still play the game, but you say that this account that's been allegedly tied to you, that's spent over $100,000 in the game, you say that's not your account and that you have a different account. So Craig says, send me a screenshot right now on your phone of your account name in the app. You email it to me. I won't share it publicly. There's no downside, only upside, because you'll send it to me. I'll see it's not your account. It's a different username. And I'll be like, okay, guys, it's not his account. It's not his account. We can let that go. He's like, right now, you can put this to bed and it won't be a question. And DSP refused. He refused. And what he said was that he was worried about exposure. Let me see if I can. Exposure. I don't think that. No, expose. Something like that.
Since without further exposing my
it's hard to believe, dude.
The reason that this story has not died out like every other one is because this is the one that I really don't have a way to prove my innocence without.
I feel like this whole thing is like that Michael Scott clip where he's like, you can tell if someone's lying if they have bad eye contact and they like touch their face and lick their lips and stuff. And the moment, like whenever he's telling the truth, he'll just say, yes, yeah, I played the game. Yeah. He'll just be very direct and he'll look at the camera. When he starts lying, his eyes start darting everywhere. Like, look at this. His hands start flailing. Look at this.
I really don't have a way to prove my innocence without
like, where is he looking? What?
further exposing myself. You understand?
Do you have a police report for the
a police
identity
report?
You don't.
Oh,
you
no.
can redact.
Like, it's just insane. So, like, the DSP thing is just crazy. Because like my stance, I think it's his account. He has all of this evidence pointing to it being him, and then his response is nuh-uh. And that's not very compelling. I'm sorry. It's just not very compelling. So I think it's his account. I think he spent all that money, and it explains why he's always so strapped for cash, why he's always e-begging and stuff. I think it's all legitimate. I think that's all him. Baldusha, thank you also for subbing with Prime, and The Wing. Oh wait, thank you for subbing with Prime as well. Thank you, my friend. And Jordan, thank you for the 2. My best time was Game Chat, Modern Warfare 2009 Game Chat. Oh, 2009. Yeah, Call of Duty was such a different beast back then. It's crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy. Poor DSP, he just loves WWE Champions. Well, like, here's the thing. If he just came out and said, guys, here's the thing. I have an addictive personality. I got addicted to this mobile game, and I've spent way too much money on it, and I need to address it, and I need to be honest with you guys, and let's move forward and figure it out. Like, I'm just going to be honest. We need to figure it out. If he said that, I think the audience would largely be like, okay, man, you lived up to, like, you admitted to it, you stepped up to the plate, and you accepted responsibility, and you stopped lying. Okay, cool. Let's get you some help and figure it out. The detractors would still definitely take all of that and be like, okay, so he definitely put all this on his taxes and that's tax fraud, so he's going away. And I think that's the thing, is he will never admit to it. Even if he wanted to have like a heart-to-heart with his audience, I don't think he could, because it would mean that he would likely have to deal with some serious legal ramifications, because he has been claiming $5,000-$6,000 a month of mobile game purchases as business expenses. Which, like, as a gaming YouTuber or streamer, you could write off, like, say you bought Baldur's Gate 3 to play on stream. You could write that off because it's for content and you're using it to generate revenues, just like any other business spending money on, like, a truck to deliver goods or something. But you can't write off a mobile game's microtransactions that you don't even reference on stream, you don't talk about, you aren't using it to generate revenues. It's something you're playing in your private time on your private phone. Like, no judge on earth is going to be like, yeah, no, that's clearly business expense. And that's why he can't admit to it. He can't admit it. Like, that's the thing.